Hey guys, I've brought you out in the rain to show you my tall bearded iris. Let me take you over here to look. Now, let me just tell you what I have here. I have this stone crop sedum that my friend Lori gave me. She gave me a few sprigs, I think last spring. Maybe it was the year before, but they have completely taken over the front of this garden bed. And I have these tall bearded irises that I got 2 years ago as bulbs from eBay. It was just a mixed lot. It's like a buttery yellow and a white and a purple. And I have my 2 little ceramic garden balls. I got those from TJ Maxx. And over here, my Clematis is also starting to bloom, also gifted to me by my friend Lori. She's so generous. Anytime she makes changes in her garden, I'm the first person she calls. And she always offers me these wonderful plants. But I wanted to bring you out here just to show you these wonderful blooms and how excited I am that after 2 years later, sometimes you have to be patient, I have these beautiful irises. And guys, I moved the bee bath over here. I thought having so many bees right next to our deck was probably a bad idea, even though they seem pretty docile. I moved it over here and they've been a little slow picking it up, but each day I do see more and more bees using it, when it's sunny out, of course. But I just wanted to show you this really gorgeous corner of the garden. Even though it's a rainy day, I'm really thrilled with this view. And like I said, this is the first time this corner has looked so beautiful. Good things come to those that wait. And here is why it's a really good idea not to spray your lawns with chemicals, herbicides, or insecticides. You will get the most adorable creatures coming to forage on your polyculture of a lawn. And I happen to have a lot of clover. I have violets all over the place. The bees have been loving it. I'm looking through the door because if I go outside, our little bunny will hop away. But this little bunny's been hanging out in front of the polytunnel all morning, foraging on different varieties in the lawn. And I know for sure that they love the clover. But we have to get away from spraying our lawns and trying to have perfect lawns, because I think it's way better to have little creatures like this. And this little bunny has a boyfriend, and I may have spotted a baby bunny darting around the other day. So hopefully I'll have a field of bunnies in my less than perfect lawn. I just wanted to show you my beautiful Clematis. This is the beautiful bush that, or vine I should say, it's a creeping, climbing vine that my friend Lori gave me a couple of years ago. And it's spectacular. It throws off lots and lots of blooms. I put compost on it every year as the soil level in the tire goes down, but it just really takes care of itself. Isn't it gorgeous, guys? Let's go closer up. I don't know what variety it is, but it's a spectacular display. I just love it. What a show. I have a gorgeous new addition over here, and that is this beautiful urn. This was a gift from my son Charlie for Mother's Day, and I put in one of my eBay red maples. So I'm not sure what type of maple it is, if it's a dwarf or a regular sized maple. But we'll find out, but it'll be fine in there for a couple of years. And I think it looks amazing here in this sea of hostas. And let me show you a little bit closer again. We do have some new leaves on the top for this spring. And underneath, they look a little worse for wear, but this is dwarf mondo grass. And I thought that would make a nice underdressing for the Japanese maple. I think I show you this one frequently. This is one that I just found in my woods out front. I have a small little patch of woods left, and this was growing in them, and it's probably from the giant Japanese red maple that I have in my front yard. But I found this seedling, and it's tripled in size in this pot. So I'm going to keep it in here for a while until I think it needs to go in the ground. Isn't that beautiful, guys? And I think I showed you earlier in the spring how much I like it with the white flowers underneath. The fig trees have put out their leaves, so they have woken up finally. It's been a very late spring. And I have that underplanted with some gorgeous columbine. Again, this was a gift from my friend Lori. But aren't they beautiful, guys? They're the prettiest pink. And I am really feeling this pink in my garden this year. And that is one that she gave me this year, was growing in her path. So it came home with me. And with a couple of warm days last week, the squash plants decided to take off. So I'm excited that they're doing so well in the containers. I'm going to keep an eye out for squash beetle eggs. But they are looking well. And I've got most of my plantings done. I still have some more tomatoes to put around, but I am really thrilled with that. And I planted nasturtium around it, and they seem to have taken as well. So I'm happy to see that. That's also a good companion plant, and that deters squash bugs as well. I'm going to be vigilant. And I've got some more columbine in a pot in this hosta and fern garden back here under the trees. So this is a little corner with gorgeous ferns and hostas. I actually think Lori gave me everything in here. And more of that beautiful columbine. And then at the very end I have some daylilies which catch a little bit of sun. But there's not much sun back here. So this is a shade garden, and it's all come up really beautifully. All of the honeysuckle around the yard has been in bloom, and it smells amazing. I have a really big one here which I've kind of pruned up into a tree. I don't think I've shown you the orchard bed. I have converted the orchard to a raised container bed. And these are all from Home Depot, and I'm just planting a variety of things in it. I found that the soil was so compacted, and only one of my 2 trees in the orchard survived, so I went ahead and moved it. But the soil was so compacted, but yet at the same time it was kind of in a gully zone where rain would really wash through. I decided that maybe this spot was best for raised container gardening. So I have set up, let's see, 2, 4, 6, I set up 8 of these, and they're, like I said, they're going to have a variety of things in there. Let's walk over here. Some things are blooming in the rustic garden bed. Got some beautiful Sweet William opening up, all different stages. They're mixed. This is a really pretty clump right here, but these are biennials, so they'll drop seed and come back from year to year. I just love them. It's a beautiful mix of colors. There's a bright pink one, pink purple, and this one's just a pink. So pretty. And it looks like pretty soon, unless something happens, I'm going to be showing you some very tall black hollyhocks. They're in bud, so we'll see what happens there. And then over here, this is a rabbit-resistant plant, which I can highly recommend, is Salvia. And this is a nice late spring bloomer. I put another one back here and another one over here, but that may not bloom until next year. But look at the blooms on this, guys. Isn't that spectacular? It's right next to an oregano, but it just puts on a great show, and nothing eats it. It's in the sage family, and animals don't seem to like the flavor. So it's a good one to have if you have a lot of animals in your yard. And then I have more Sweet William over here, and just a little bit of flowering arugula. And I think those flowers are really pretty too. But I leave them up for the bees, and then I leave them up because they just throw seed. And every year I just get random surprises of arugula around. So I really love that. But it's a nice nectar source for the bees. I want to stay on the good side of the bees. And something is doing a number on my pepper plants, but as you can see, it hasn't stopped them from putting out little flower buds. So it might not matter how terrible they look, as long as they produce. These are little bell pepper plants, and both of them really have been shredded by something. It looks like some kind of bug activity. So I don't know what it is, but it looks like they're still gonna do the job. Way to go, little pepper plants. My husband gave me these gorgeous begonias for Mother's Day, and I don't have a lot of experience with begonias. So when I planted these a few days ago, they were all white, and now that they're opening up, they have a little touch of peach on them, like a peachy red. And I underplanted them with some cuttings I took from my mixed coleus plant. I used a lot of cuttings. This was a plant I bought in the fall, and I overwintered it inside. And now I'm taking all kinds of cuttings and adding it to all my other container plantings. But look how pretty that is, guys. I love it. And this is a partly shady location, so I think it'll do well here. It doesn't like blasting sun. So I got spoiled for Mother's Day. And I did something I've never done this year before, and that was grow some canna lilies from seed. But that can be a whole other video. Next time I attempt to do that, I'll take you along on the process. I wasn't sure how much success I have, but 4 out of 5 of them grew. And they're looking quite tiny. They have crushed up eggshells around them right now, but I just potted them up in here. And I'm hoping to have some yellow canna lilies. We'll see how that works out. The Ponytail Palms are out now for the summer. I put them in a shady area, in an area where I can keep them the water controlled. There's an overhang here, so I can control how much water they get. And if there's a nice rainstorm and I think they need to be watered, I can always move them out so they can benefit from that. But the last thing I want them to do is get waterlogged. But they seem happy so far. There was a little bit of stress. I didn't at all acclimatize them. I just kind of plopped them out here thinking it was a shady location, so they are showing a little bit of stress, but they love to be out for the summer. I've got a little one up here, and then these 3 and my bigger one down here. So they'll enjoy being outside. Here's a couple of other underplantings I did with these coleus cuttings I've taken. This is they call this the violet geranium. It's not really open yet, just a bit of it's open. But I also like the variegation on the leaves. But I think it makes a really nice accent to annual plantings. And my pansies are still doing well. And then I have one more over here. This is a really beautiful geranium here. and I have a lot more opening up. It's really early in the season, so they're not spectacular yet. But I put the brownish rust ones in here. And I think that's going to be a really stunning accent. But they're so easy. You just take a coleus cutting and root it in water for about a week or two. Sends out all kinds of roots, and then you can plant them in your containers. I love them. You'll be seeing a lot of them around my garden. And the triangle garden is very luxurious right now. My marigolds did really well, even though I planted them right before a cold snap, as did my salvia. And I want to show you something interesting. This is a salvia that was taken from a cutting from my purple ones, and this is from its seed. And as you can see, it's a lighter purple. So it's interesting to see the differences when you grow from seed. It goes back into the DNA of the plant, and then right next to it's a purple and then another couple of pinks. So I think I'm going to like this mix of salvia. And it also gives me a little border here in front of my garden of things that animals don't like to eat. So maybe it'll protect some of the other things in the garden. We'll see, but I just thought that was really interesting, the difference in the one grown from cuttings as opposed to the one grown with seed. And I'll just show you back here. I gave my hydrangea a haircut. I took out all the dead twigs and all the end of the branches that had brown on them. I just cut them back to the first live set of leaves, and it's looking a lot neater. So guys, I think that's all I have to show you this week in the garden. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.